What is up, guys? Smooth here, back with another 07scape video, and this is going to be a PK commentary, although it's not going to be a live commentary like my other videos. I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the stuff that's been going on in the RuneScape community, and it's been a big petition that's been going around. Now, just because I'm kind of just talking about something that's not related to PKing doesn't mean you shouldn't look at the video. I do have some pretty cool PK clips, including, I think I'm hitting a 42 with an Abimall in this particular clip, so I would definitely check it out. Anyway, I want to talk about this Pre-EoC server petition. Now, it was brought up by a guy named Buffalo, and it's been picking up a lot of steam very fast. I think when I checked it a couple days ago, it only got about 10,000 views, and all of a sudden it's at like 80,000 views today. And by the time some of you see this video, it might even be further. It might be past 100,000, which is pretty insane, actually. Anyway, to kind of talk about the fact of just the whole concept of bringing new servers back, I mean, when 07 came back, it was basically a lot of nostalgia that brought people who quit EoC to come back into the game. I mean, you had guys that were even bigger than, the Chris Archie, the Rune Sharks, the Spark Max, etc. You had like In the Littlewood with 350,000 subscribers, making a couple videos. You had KSI with 2 million subscribers. You had Syndicate, who has 4 million subscribers now. He made a separate channel just for his RuneScape videos. So I mean, just the nostalgia alone brought so many people back because RuneScape was such a widely played and widely liked game at the time. But to be perfectly honest, the odds of them bringing back a new server is basically zero after they've already brought out 07scape, which has already divided the community a ton as it is. I mean, the odds of them adding a different server for every different era of the game is gonna be basically zero. You already have RuneScape Classic, which some people still play. I mean, it's almost not played at all because they didn't allow new players. But I mean, it's still there. You have 07scape for people who like the old combat system. You have the EoC for people who like that. But I mean, they'd honestly have to be the worst company in the world to divide the community yet again with this third server. I mean, again, technically the fourth server if you include RuneScape Classic. Now, I wouldn't mind them converting 07 into Pre-EoC by just like taking the stats that we've currently got and all the quests that we've currently got and just bringing them over, which would be easy. It'd be pretty easy for them to do, assuming they could bring Pre-EoC servers in the first place. But, that depends on whether they have a backup or how much work that would actually take them to do in the first place. But I'm sure that it would go up, the player base would improve a lot. I mean, when 07scape first came out, they were at around 45 to, I want to say, 60,000 people online at any given time. And right now it's dropped a lot. It's dropped to like less than half of that. I think you'll see like 20 to 25,000 on at any given time. So, I mean, it's definitely taken a big hit, but it's kind of expected. You're not getting any new content. It's all stuff that we've already done many years ago. So, it's not going to grow at any point in time. Now, to be perfectly honest, this situation could be avoided altogether if they just ran one version of the game and did it properly. I mean, I can think of hundreds of ways to make the EoC better, but they just keep making new updates that ruin old content or that just completely wreck the economy. And I think I brought this up in a comment that somebody said to me in one of my videos a little while ago. But for example, they make instant God Wars that add a 200,000 gold sink for all that allow players, to just play their own version of God Wars. And then at the same time, they allow Tetsu armors and all that stuff, all the player-owned port armors, to out for anywhere between 100 million plus. I forget. I think 350 mil is the highest, which is absolutely insane. You're bringing so much more money into the economy, and the amount of gold floating into the economy is already insane. You have people who not only have 6, 7 stacks of max cash, they have multiple max stacks of spirit shards, which is 25 max stacks. So I mean, I forget there was I forget whose video it was. It might have been Fishy, but he had 3 max stacks of spirit shards. That's 75 max stacks of cash. That's when you know the economy has been completely wrecked, yet you still have stuff like this happening. I mean, whether or not it was an accident, the fact that it was even allowed to happen in the first place, it creates so much, such a deteriorating effect on the economy in general. And to be perfectly honest, the whole concept of combat is flawed with the EoC in general. There's nothing more wrong with abilities. Lots of good games have them, but the EoC does it very poorly. Now, you take a game like RuneScape, it's extremely slow paced. There's no way, there's no two ways around it. It's one of those games that you could play while watching a TV show at the same time, and you just do clicking here and there. Like, I literally watched all 7 seasons of Dexter while playing 07scape, and I mean, many aspects of the EoC are not very different. Like, let's take Ivy for example. You can literally click on Ivy once every 5 minutes, and then that's literally it. You literally will gain a bunch of experience with one click because you're just AFKing the skill nonstop. And then all of a sudden you take the combat system and it becomes, Street Fighter button mashing, which, it just doesn't work. It's completely misfit into the game that it is. They'd have to either, change everything to make it much more fast paced, where you literally have to just, nonstop click on a tree or, button mash to swing your axe a certain way to aim high on a tree, aim low on a tree, or whatever the case is. I'm just literally making stuff up here. But it's misplaced. Like it just does not work with the current way the game is run. And it's supposed to be a very laid back game. Now, honestly, if they would have just taken abilities and incorporated it within the special attack system, because special attacks as they are essentially their own abilities. I don't like the way some special attacks use very large amounts of spec. Like you got some that use 100%, some that use 50%. I liked weapons like the DDS, and one of the reasons why the DDS was so well liked is that you could use it many times. It wasn't like a quick lucky thing or something that you could just use to one hit somebody or like rush somebody with. I mean, they still should have watered down many of these weapons in the first place. Like they do hit, some of them hit just way too high in the first place. But you really want to have like a system where you incorporate something where you're not just clicking and waiting, which is something that a lot of people that enjoy EoC were complaining about the old combat system. You could have just taken abilities and say like this ability, which is like a kick that stuns somebody, uses 10% of your special attack bar, whatever the case is. Again, I'm just throwing stuff out there, but all this little stuff would have made a lot more people stick around because the adrenaline system, it just changes things so dramatically, and again, it's just too click intensive and too keyboard intensive. Anyway, that's just one of my many thoughts, but I'm just kind of digressing over here. But as far as the whole concept of them bringing back a new server, I can't say. I honestly think that it's extremely unrealistic that a third server is going to come out to be alongside 07. It's just the odds of it happening are basically zero. So for those of you that think it's going to happen, I'm going to say that I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but the odds of it are almost nothing. I would completely support the idea of them converting 07 into Pre-EoC because it would just give us a lot more to do. Ancient spells, God Wars, a whole bunch of other types of bosses. So it could be pretty interesting, and I would actually like to see it because as it is, I haven't done a lot of questing. I mean, I'm at like 105 quest points, something like that. I have like 90 something strength. So I have my character to where I need it to be, but there's not much left for me to actually do. Like I could train my magic and tri-brid with ancients. I could train my range and start getting lucky with some some dark bow specs and whatnot. But again, it's very limited on what I could do, and there's very little PVM. Like I can fight QBD. What am I saying? KBD. I could fight King Black Dragon. I could fight the Calphite Queen, and I could fight like the Giant Mole. There's very little else you can do besides that. Again, I might be missing something, but you guys get the point. There's not a lot of PVM to do. So Pre-EoC I think would be a lot of fun, and I did enjoy it. That for me, that was probably the highlight of my experience over there. The only thing I don't like in Pre-EoC is the Grand Exchange. I think that's something that a lot of people that play 07 now, really enjoy. The fact that you actually still have that community aspect. You can still talk to people, trade with them, barter. Scamming's always going to be there. You're still going to have scammers. You're still going to have lures. But that's kind of the nature of the game. But I feel like just having that part in there is what kind of kept the community together in the first place. Having to always communicate with somebody in case you needed something. Or if you wanted to do it by yourself, you were always welcome to do that. Anyway, guys, that's my whole thought on the whole situation. So just to break it down really quick for those of you that want to refresh on everything, 07 and Pre-EoC with EoC is just not going to happen. 07 turning into Pre-EoC, I like that idea a lot. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys agree or if you have any of your own ideas that you'd like to incorporate, and I'd love to hear it in a comment below. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And that's about all. I'll see you guys all soon. Take it easy.